Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Now, one of the first few functions you will learn when you're learning a new programming language are its minimum and maximum functions. And yeah, as you can expect, it works exactly as it says on the tin, right? It's going to either pick the minimum or maximum of the numbers supplied. Now, here's something interesting about these functions. You can actually use it in a creative way to constrain some values. Here's how this works. Now, let's say you have a variable called input and it can take on any value, right? You don't know what's its minimum, you don't know what's its maximum, and you want to actually constrain it to any number between 0 and 100. Here's how you can do that using just minimum and maximum operations. To limit the maximum of this value to 100, what you can do is you can actually use the minimum command. So all you have to do is to pick a minimum between that input as well as 100. Why this works is because, well, the smaller of the two are always going to be picked. So if input ever exceeds 100, now 100 is actually the smaller parameter, so that gets picked. That way the value never exceeds 100. On a similar vein, to set the minimum, you want to use the maximum operation. Again, with the number that you want to set the constraint to. Maximum picks the larger of the two numbers, and therefore if your input ever falls below 0, well, 0 becomes the larger number and it gets selected. So yeah, probably the only confusing part here is the fact that to control the minimum, you use a maximum function and vice versa. Also, don't forget, every time you're done with the operation, you have to assign it back to the input. If you don't, then, well, you're not really changing anything. You can also stuff everything into the same line, even though this may negatively impact readability. But yeah, that's basically the idea. By actually misusing a function in a creative way, you use it for a purpose it was never intended for. And this actually makes it, quite simple. If you don't do it this way, you're gonna have to use if statements, and that's just going to look ugly. Anyway, that's all there is for this episode of Friday Minis. I hope you've gained some insight today. But until next time, you're watching 0612 TV with NERDfirst.net. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my work and are feeling generous, you can shoot me a one-time donation on PayPal or sign up for a recurring one on Patreon. Of course, you can simply like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. For more videos, links to my channel and a related playlist are on screen. Thank you for your support.